of social change that has been characteristic initially of Western societies and has now become a global phenomenon. I want to emphasize that this is a phenomenon that whose onset we can recognize in the early 19th century. And we'll set that aside for the moment, and I'll come back to it. One might think, one is tempted to speak of scientific discoveries as being the source of science's power to be a driver of social change, that scientists have been discovering continually and relentlessly discovering new truths about nature, and that the change follows from that. But I want to argue and to emphasize, as I will repeatedly throughout this course, that it is scientific ideas that are responsible for this change, not discoveries. That, as a matter of fact, discoveries are ideas incarnate. That it is the ideas that are the source of science's power, not discoveries. Copernicus did not discover that the Earth moved around the sun. It was an idea of Copernicus's that the Earth moved around the sun rather than that the sun moved around the Earth. Einstein did not discover the special or general theories of relativity. Einstein had an idea that led to the special theory of relativity. A different but related idea, as we will discuss in a later lecture, led to the general theory of relativity. It was when these ideas panned out, so to speak, when these ideas were accepted because of their explanatory power or confirmed by subsequent experimentation, that scientists said that they had discovered new truths about nature, that they had discovered new facts about the universe. Darwin did not discover the theory of evolution, or nor did Alfred Russel Wallace. Both of them had a certain idea and then showed that facts that were known to everyone could be put in a more powerfully ordered and explanatory form if you accepted the idea of evolution by natural selection. And of course, we can continue along these lines, but I think you get the even when you think that you have a case of a discovery, even when a scientist looks at the results of an experiment or looks through an instrument and discovers, for example, the cell theory of life, which we will take up in a subsequent lecture, what we're really seeing is that an idea has shaped the experiment to begin with. The idea that led to the generalization based on a few observations that cells were the fundamental form of all living things. I will be recurring throughout this course to scientific ideas and the power of those ideas. There will occasionally be reference to discoveries, but I will try to show you that those discoveries, in fact, are always associated with ideas that underlie them. It's always, from a persuasive point of view, it's more powerful to talk about discoveries because they seem totally neutral than to emphasize that I had an idea that I'd like to convince you of the truth of. It has a certain rhetorical force to argue that, as a matter of fact, I have nothing to do with this personally. I just happen to be the one that was fortunate enough to discover the following truth about nature. So what we have in the case of science is that since the early 19th century, science has become a driver of change through the power of its ideas. But we need to be more precise still, because as a matter of fact, science overwhelmingly affects us through technology. Yes, some scientific ideas, the idea that the Earth is just a tiny speck in a vast universe, doubtless has some effect on our self-conception and our image of the world. Darwin's theory of evolution is an idea that has so far essentially no practical consequences, although perhaps some are looming in the area of genetic engineering and biotechnology, but as an idea, it has had a profound effect on our society, on our self-image, on what it means to be human. So there is a sense in which scientific ideas affect us directly, but in a kind of abstract way. Practically speaking, science is associated with changing the world, with changing how we live our lives through technology, and in particular through technological innovation. So the fact that beginning in the 19th century, science can be identified as a driver of social change is also a fact about technology in the 19th century. And we will, in fact, be using throughout this course a term, technoscience, which refers to coupling science in a systematic way to technological innovation.